Thank you very much, Milka, to helping to set the scene for us and understand what we're going to talk about, and most importantly, how we're going to explore alternatives to what's being put out in the Commission's proposal to see what else might work well. Just a reminder, I know that many of you may be active on social media, 2 hashtags that we encourage you to use: access to medicines and EU pharma access. So both of those, and you will see them coming up on screen at various moments, but those are the ones we would encourage you to use. So I'm now going to hand over to Sarah, because Dr. Sarah Garner is a Senior Policy Advisor on Access to Medicines and Health Products for the WHO Regional Office for Europe in Copenhagen. She's really going to take us through what we need to understand about the background. Sarah.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everybody. And thank you for the warm welcome to EPHA. I'm going to focus forward a little bit on this. What struck me when I was looking through the pharmaceutical legislation, the revisions, the ongoing discussions, was what was missing in it. I was at the European Health Summit yesterday, and several of the speakers said affordability is now an acceptable word. And I was like, but where is it? Where is it? Where are the actions? So we have the actions in the legislation, we have the regulations, the legislation, we have what the Commission can deliver and its instruments, but what else are we going to do about the affordability issue? What are we going to do about the payment issue? And to me, we can have lovely discussions about research and innovation and industrial strategy. Everybody gets the business case, but yet at the same time, we have healthcare systems that are under enormous crisis. The budgets are really, really stretched. And if all the incentives for the development are coming from those healthcare systems, we have a problem. This is a paradox. And the issues are the underlying, how can these two things be true at the same time? And like most paradoxes, they can't be solved. So what we need to do is step back, and this is what I'm going to go through today, is the opportunities WHO has created through the Access to Novel Medicines platform, and also the value of collaboration. There are a lot of people working in this area. We're all very, very passionate about it. I want to see change. You know, I've got maybe 10 years left in my career, hopefully. I would really like to see change, and I think together, if we all focus together and move forward, we can make that change. So I'm going to talk you through some of the work that WHO Euro's been doing. Just a little bit of background. Again, I was really struck talking about the European Health Summit yesterday. WHO wasn't really featuring there as a partner. Everyone was talking about the need of collaboration, yet we had 3 people on the podium who were part of this novel medicines platform, but not talking about those opportunities are there. So again, just I know when I came from the UK, from NICE, the HTA agency, WHO wasn't really relevant to the work we were doing. And it's taken me a long time, 7 years now, to really understand where WHO adds value, and also can add value to this topic that we're talking about today. So for me, 53 member states, we have 900 million inhabitants. Those are the key figures on this. That is an enormous market that rivals the US market. There is so much unmet need, not only in the EU countries, but more broadly. What can we do to make that attractive as a whole? How can we work together? How can we pool demand? How can we aggregate and get those signals to the suppliers? And WHO acts in a normal ways. You'll have the slide, number of ways, but one of the most relevant ones, I think, for this EU audience is around that policy advocacy. So really advocating for change. We've just put out a publication looking at advanced ATMPs. We use the PPRI network, so thank you very much to Sabine Vogler and colleagues for their support with this paper. It's no surprises here. There is so much variation in access to ATMPs and funding that goes beyond the clinical data, the economic considerations. There is a lot of variation in access. You can read the paper. And It's some of it's to do with regulatory differences at a national level, but quite a lot is to do with launching. And then the systems are also their decision-making criteria. So there's a lot of variation in that that goes beyond it, beyond just the explanations about clinical effectiveness. So how can we look at this and understand what is going on and make it better for these patients? And again, the important thing for me is that we have 20, 30 of these new medicines coming through, which is great news. The innovation part is working, but how are we going to pay for them? This is beyond many countries, most countries, I think. So what are we going to do about this? So when Dr. Hans Kluge is the WHO's regional director, was doing his campaign for election, this access to medicines was the one thing that all the politicians brought up. And I was tasked with building this collaboration mechanism. We were very fortunate that Norway core-funded us. So we did the Oslo Medicines Initiative. I'm not going to go through the detail, we're short of time, I know. But we really identified the need for this collaborative platform to bring stakeholders together to really identify what can we do about it. We can talk for hours about the issues. We've all done that. So what do we do going forward? Let's be action orientated. So we've built the Novel Medicines platform. These are the stats. We have 50 member states, 25 NGOs, 6 industry business associations, and 18 partners such as the Commission, OECD, EMA, HTA, and a big thank you to EPHA for their contributions to this and their partnership within it. And I know a number of you in this room today were with us for 2 days talking about transparency. We have 4 working groups. Again, I'm not going to go through the detail. There isn't enough time. You'll have the slides afterwards. First working group is on transparency. We have indicators. We need data. Everybody owns different data sets. We want to put it in the public domain. Voluntary collaborations on solidarity. So this is about evidence generation, demand pooling. How can we come together to really get those data sets interoperable, to manage the uncertainties, and then solidarity as well. So principles for payment, HTA. What about these systems that we're interacting for? They're not working together. They're not coherent. There's gaps. There's cost effectiveness, but no funding. So how can we build this clear runway for these medicines going forward? And the last one I'll talk about is the antimicrobials one. We've got some fantastic chairs. Again, I'm not going to go through the detail. You'll have the slides afterwards. This meeting was this week has been hosted by Reserve Army Francis Arix, talking about transparency. We had the Deputy Minister for Czechia, Mind at Boyson, Head of International Affairs at NICE, and Sweden have also agreed to host and chair the antimicrobials working group. And I think this is my last slide, is again just to thank EPHA again for their collaboration, their great collaboration. We launched we had ratified at the last regional committee in Astana the AMR roadmap, which looks at priorities for the next few years for how the regional office is going to approach antimicrobial resistance. And within that, we have stewardship. So that's stewardship of the antimicrobials that we have, rational use, and making sure people have access to those antimicrobials when they're needed. But also in that, we have the access to novel medicines platform. So again, coordinating, we have a lot of interest. There's now a lot of capital going into this. We've got developers where they're still flagging issues. So what as a community do we need to do about this to move it forward? And how do we coordinate? And that's, as I said, so the 2 things we're going to be focusing on, chaired by Marlin and Jenny, was what's the policy options for sustainable access to novel antimicrobials, review of incentive coordination mechanisms. The observatory with colleagues did a fantastic piece of work for the Swedish presidency. We've done the technical work. We know what the options are. You're going to talk about vouchers today. There's a number of other options. How do we look at this in their entirety and make sure we got the money coming in and we understand what each of these options is going to do? As I say, the money is there at the moment. We just need better coordination. And then also looking at access. So we need to de-link the volume of sales from the pricing. So there's some really interesting work, again, Sweden and the UK have done on next fix models. There are other learnings. So we're going to step by step through that and see what you can learn. And again, just to finish, that collaboration, that is what the Novel Medicines platform is there. If you're not involved as an organisation and you want to be involved, please do get in touch. And our working groups really truly are working groups, and we're going to be pushing everybody now to come up with these actions. And I'll stop there and say thank you.